when originally, would I like to say a few words about my walk with Jesus, how I come to Gold Hill. And I said yes, surprisingly I said yes, so here I am. Good. But what I'd like to say, our walk with the Lord is not a very easy one. He never said it would be. And some of us have stumbled, some of us will fall. And as you'll hear in a little while, years ago I did stumble. But I look at the good news, and in Matthew 28:20, it says, "And be sure of this, I am with you always, even to the end of the age." Now, a little bit about myself. My parents were not churchgoers. And Sundays, though, were very special. And we were not allowed to go out to play on a Sunday. And as probably some of you remember, practically all the shops were closed on a Sunday. Mm. And I was the youngest of three, and my sister was 10 years older than myself. So we're talking about 1944, 1945. Now, I realise I've probably got socks older than some of you, but we were sent to Sunday school. And this Sunday school, just filling in the background, it was St Luke's Mission Church in Hounslow. And outside this church, in big white concrete letters, was "Jesus Saves." Now, as a young child, I didn't really get this. I didn't really know what it meant at that time. And in those days that we used to save halfpennies for the missionaries. Now, some of you might, I don't know, halfpennies, there were 480 of them to the pound in them days. And that was Sunday school on a Sunday. And I moved on. I joined the Scouts. And unbeknown to me at the time, we went on camp at a place called Chalfont St Peter. I think it was Chalfont Heights. Yeah. Not knowing that that would have a very important part in my life later on. So, just moving on, I left school and I managed to get an apprenticeship at a well-known engineering firm, Evershed Vignals at Chiswick. And at that time, I was working in the naval test room. And one of the chaps, I remember his name, Gordon his name was, and he come from Dawes Road Baptist Church, Fulham. And he said to me, "Hey Michael, some of us lads, we're going to Haringey on Saturday." I said, "Going to Haringey?" "Yes. There's an evangelical guy going to speak. Chap called Jim Graham." Well, I'd never even heard of Jim Graham. So this was 1954.
You mean Billy?
Yeah, Billy Graham. Billy Graham, sorry. Yeah.
The other Graham.
Yeah, Billy Graham. So anyway, I went along. And it was a fantastic evening, I have to say. Very moving. And I found I was quite overcome by what he was saying. And I always remember that the hymn I heard for the first time there, it was Blessed Assurance, which probably all of you know. And that evening I made a commitment. And that was fine. And I started going to an Anglican church at Osterley, St Mary's. And things went very well there, but there was something missing. I wasn't growing in my faith at all. And I felt I wasn't moving forward, and I felt discouraged. And I felt in one way lonely, believe it or not. I didn't know anybody there. And over a period of time, I got very discouraged. And I really only went then to the church for normal sort of things, weddings and funerals. And I'd become disillusioned, and that was very sad. Then in 1956, I had helped organise a dance and social at our company's sports ground at Boston Manor. And there I met this Sunday school teacher. Her name was Hazel. Wow, never forget that. That was in 1956. We married in 1960. And we managed to buy a house in Ruislip Manor. And then things were going well for me, as I thought. And Hazel, being the accountant, said, I think we should move. I think in those days you got tax relief or mortgages or something, I don't know. So in 1983, we moved to Gerrards Cross. And that was fine. And I thought I had everything. I had a lovely house, a lovely wife. I had no financial worries. No problem at all. But there was something missing. And you've probably guessed what was missing. And then they say, you've heard the saying, God moves in mysterious ways. And then Hazel said to me, Mum's coming for the weekend. Now, my mother-in-law is coming for the weekend. Now, we've heard many jokes about mother-in-laws, but she was a lovely Christian lady. So she comes along, she came up from Dorset, and on the Saturday, she says to Hazel, I would like to go to church on Sunday. Oh, right, okay, Mum. Well, Hazel at that time, she was at Glaxo, knew a lady there, or a girl, and she had spoken to this girl, and she said, oh, my brother's an elder at Gold Hill. Oh, so we didn't know much about Gold Hill Church. So Hazel found out that the service was at 6:30 on a Sunday evening. Am I going? No, I'm not going. No, you go. You take your mum to this church, Gold Hill. Now, I had a problem. I'm ashamed to say I had a big problem there. I just bought a brand new car. Now, this meant that Hazel would have to drive the car to this place called Gold Hill.
In your brand new car.
In my brand new car.
That's a problem.
So I thought 6:30, they'll be back at 7:30. Little did I know about Gold Hill evening services then. So off they went. 7:30 come, got home, 8:30. 8:45 they come in. All I could hear was about these two pastors, a pastor called Jim Graham and Jonathan Hollidge. It was a baptismal service. Well, I had this for a week on about Gold Hill. So, God moves in mysterious ways. I decided to go with Hazel. I think it was probably the next Sunday. So I arrived at Gold Hill just before 6:30. It was packed, no seats. So I turned round to come out, and a lady put her hand on my shoulder. And she said, "Oh, you're new, aren't you?" So I said, "Yes." Unbeknown to me, it was a lady called Shirley Rothwell. She was Jim Graham's secretary. She said, "Hang on a moment." She said, "I'll get 2 members to give their seats up. They could go in the overflow." They were using the hall as an overflow. So we got 2 nice seats. And it all happened. It was a fantastic evening for me. And the Lord spoke to me through Jim Graham. And I'll never forget this. And we're going back quite a few years. During the last hymn, Jim Graham would come from the front of the church, walk down and stand by the door to say, as people went out. And as I got up to him, he held his hand out. And his actual words were, "It's so great to see you, Michael." And over the years, that's been a mystery to me. How did he know my name? And if you remember, when you spoke to Jim Graham, you had a complete eye contact, face to face. Didn't matter what went on either side of you, you had Jim's attention. And I knew I'd come home. That evening, I knew I'd come home. And Hazel and I, we were so moved. Our lives had changed completely. And we were baptised together at Gold Hill one evening. And my sister, she came along, and all she kept on saying is, "You've changed, you've changed." You couldn't get over it. I was so different. And what happened then was something that probably should have happened when I first made my commitment and went to the Anglican Church. I was put into a house group. We called them house groups in them days. And it was Ron and Elizabeth Irwin. And I always remember Ron said to Hazel and I, "Michael, it doesn't matter what time of night and day, if you have any concerns, you phone me." And it was lovely to have this care. And it was such an uplift for Hazel and I to have that backup. And later on, I'm moving on a little bit now, as John knows, we were invited to join the Gideons. And that opened up other doors for us. And I was fortunate enough to retire very early in my 50s. And it gave us an opportunity to travel a lot. And we've been around the world a few times. And the Lord has shown me well, not only me, Hazel as well, poverty that I've never seen in my life before, and wealth in various countries of the world. And we started going a few times to Vietnam to an orphanage there, which was lovely. It opened our eyes, and we used to take the children. And a few years back, just digressing a little bit, we was in Papua New Guinea. And I don't know, we shouldn't have done this really when I look back. This volcano was going and the place was covered in ash. And we wanted to go to this village. And there's half a dozen of us went. And I had to stop filming because the ash was still coming down. Everything was covered with ash. We come to this little village and they had lost everything. And the children, they had ash all in their hair, they were covered. And it was a wooded area. I think we sat on a log and we started talking to this lady. She had 4 children, one of them was physically handicapped. And I'll never forget what she said to me. She turned around and she said to me, you know, they'd lost everything, but God is good. And I've often thought of that. Would that, if that had happened in Chalfont or Gerrards Cross, how many people would turn around and say, but God is good? And we thought, what can we do? And what she wanted was Bibles. Now, fortunately, I was in the position to get them Bibles. And another gentleman with me, they wanted corrugated iron. And fortunately, somehow or other, he managed to get the corrugated iron. But the Lord has shown me so much in my walk with him. And I am so thankful for what I've seen and the opportunity of, we've been to places where probably none of you would ever go. And another place with the Bibles was, can you remember Mutiny on the Bounty, Pitcairn Island? Been there. There's only 50 people on there. And we managed to get Bibles. In China, I've done the same thing. And it's lovely how, through the Lord, that how he's led Hazel and I. And we come back to Gold Hill. And it is my home. And I know that we don't always get it right. But that's the human side of us. But, you know, you are our family. And with the help we've had, and as some of you know, I've been struggling with cancer. But the help and the prayers I've had from my brothers and sisters here has been fantastic. And I don't think that if I hadn't known the Lord, that I would have coped so well. But that's my little story. I hope I haven't bored you. I've probably missed a few things out, but I just want to give thanks. And I'd just like to end with, because he lives, we can face tomorrow. So thank you for your little bit of time, for me allowing to say my feelings.
Thank you
you.
very much.